All right. So, in this episode of You Got This about entrepreneurship and mindset, we're going to discuss the things that we don't want to do. This is the honest edge of between entrepreneurs who stay stuck and those who quietly build something. And it's the doing of hard things, what you don't want to do. Last episode, Lacanya and we discussed um, probably it's best as an entrepreneur to get into the practice of doing everything you don't want to do because that's exactly what an entrepreneurship requires out of you.
Yes.
So, without further ado, I'm Stephen McConnell. I'm a mindset coach, personal mastery coach, with my business founder and CEO of Growth Mindset Initiative, and this is Lacanya.
Hello, beautiful people. I'm LaConya Reed. I'm the CEO and founder of Choices International, a group mental health practice, and the founder of So Say Me, motivational, inspirational quotes that make you think.
All
So,
right, that is awesome. You are a busy lady.
no time like the present.
Yeah.
I'm pretty busy, intentionally busy. Not busy for the sake of busy, busy work. But I'm operating from the mindset of now, being present in the now. So it's eliminating for me procrastinating. And now, if I start it, I'm going to complete it. And so it gives me an opportunity to think sober about tasks and things, doing difficult things, the things we don't want to do. I think about it now before diving in. I literally count the cost before making the choice to do so that I'm in the now when doing it.
Wow.
So it
So,
allows me to be busy.
how do you define the difficult things? We were discussing this a little bit before we jumped on here. I think that
Mhm.
that's a great place to start.
So, Stephen, for me, when we talk about this topic, really doing the difficult, especially as an entrepreneur, the question that I ask is, who said it was difficult, right? Difficult is being used as an adjective to describe a task, a thing, a situation, a conversation. But what makes it difficult? Why are we choosing that label? And so that's the question of where did we get that label? Why was that label assigned? And does it have to stay there with regard to the things we need to do as an entrepreneur?
I tend to choose the definition, and this is just me. I tend to choose the definition that um, it's everything that you don't want to do that you're procrastinating to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if procrastination jumps in, and my definition of procrastination from the mindset version is a lot of times there's fear associated with it. There's um, just some sort of idea of perfection associated with it. So you're designing things and you're saying, oh, well, I can't do that perfectly, so I'm not going to do it. So there's a lot of emotions behind that, all of them attribute to fear.
Yeah.
So I would say the things that you're afraid of.
And so that's interesting. I would 100% agree. Now, my backstory is I'm a board certified licensed clinician, right? So, mindset, I love what you're doing. It's so very real. My training teaches me to go beneath that original thought of I'm afraid, perfection, that sort of thing, right? Because in order for that to be your emotional response, there is an underlying belief and that belief is showing up, or that task that you're afraid to do, procrastinating doing, is triggering that underlying belief, which is creating for you and for me and for others that very familiar emotional response. And so the tasks don't necessarily have to be labeled. difficult.
Correct.
For an example, writing or the SOP, standard operating procedures, right? There was a time where I'm talking years, not, oh, I procrastinated and put it off for 30 days or a week or two. No, years. And I realized at the core, the belief was a couple of things. It was competency.
Mm.
Competency. I knew the truth was I felt inferior, inadequate, and I wasn't competent in writing it. And at the core of that competency, meaning I didn't have the efficacy, I did not possess the skills, the language, the know how, the writing, technical skills. And even beneath that, a little further, I wanted someone else to do it for me. And that comes from a mindset previous, I'm a victim and someone needs to rescue me. And so if you're not aware of the core belief systems that's intruding or being triggered by the thought, by the situation that brings about those thoughts, hence the emotional response, you procrastinate, you don't do it, you label it, I have to do the difficult, then we stay stuck. And so doing the difficult, once I realized, oh, this is a belief that I am a victim. I need to be rescued. Someone else needs to do what I've labeled difficulty because I am incompetent and I'm not willing to get the skill, the know how, or the preparation to do a SOP in entrepreneurship. So I procrastinate and don't do it and did not do it for years in business.
There you go. Wow. Really got deep all of a sudden. I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's layered. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
layered.
like emotions in our identity, our character are all
Mhm.
layered. And sometimes you hit upon that thing where
Mhm.
you don't do something and it's labeled difficult. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And just to describe in my world, neuro-linguistic programming, when we label something difficult, well, let's go into something a little bit more simpler like anxiety and stress.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The equivalent to anxiety and stress on the other end of that is excitement. And so, what Lacania is talking about here is going down into the deep layers and
Mm.
re-identifying this understanding within our own mindset that, wait, I'm not really nervous or anxiety ridden or stressed. In
Right.
this moment, I feel excitement. I get to do this thing.
Right.
So I love this. I love how we're
Right.
going deep into this. How do you move into that? What did you do in your story? Transition that framework.
So, so there's a couple of things. So say me, counseling, right, allows individuals to really begin to peel that onion and to really unearth what's been buried, counseling. And it's your opportunity or a client or participant's opportunity to be able to gather that insight about their unconscious beliefs that's actually having them make their decisions. That's literally, it's the programming that's running their life, that's running their decisions. And so I went through counseling, therapy to help me to understand that it was when I was 6 years old and I was lost. That's a story. The experience programmed me into believing that I am helpless, that I need a hero. I need someone to
Mm.
rescue me, right? I cannot do it by myself. Now, and I had forgotten about that experience. And this is what happens. We have all types of experiences. They don't necessarily have to be traumatic. They're experiences that your brain programs a narrative. And that narrative starts running at an unconscious level, becomes your belief. And then when you're in situations that trigger that, you have the same emotional and or behavioral response. So to help me to unlock that, I did therapy. And once I unlocked it, mindset, you can then reprogram yourself. You can create a new belief. You can't undo the past experience, right? But you can challenge yourself to develop a new belief. Then your brain begins to learn that. We call it neuroplasticity. You begin to operate and do behaviors associated with that new belief. Your brain then overrides the previous program, and then the new belief becomes how you start showing up. It is a process, but it is doable. And so through therapy and then coaching and practice, I was able to override or delete the old belief and began to operate in the new belief. So I reframed difficult, like doing difficult. I just said the labels don't add value to me. I don't need the label. I focus on productivity. Do the task. My focus isn't on is it easy or difficult. My focus is did I complete it? So I reframed it, took the label off, and changed the focus. That's what I did. Therapy to give me insight about what was operating, and then I moved to developing a new belief. I got involved with a coach who helped me to actualize and held me accountable for acting in the new belief. And then later, I was able to relabel it or reframe it. And so I don't label things as difficult anymore. I see them as complete or incomplete. It doesn't matter what skill set it's going to involve for me to get it done. It just means get it done. I started, I finish it, and I've opened my mind up to say it might mean, hey, Laconia, you need to learn something new. Hey, Laconia, you may need to call someone in to assist you. And so it positioned me of being a student as opposed to a victim.
Wow. Wow. I love that. Yeah. In neurolinguistic programming, we do very, very similar. We're not at the therapy level. I mean, you've studied for years on therapy.
Mm-hmm.
We practice emotions and peel back. We slowly discuss the emotions. We peel back it like an onion, like we had talked
Mm-hmm.
about.
Mm-hmm.
And getting back down to it, we can then reframe it as if it's a movie.
Yes.
Reframe it, seeing
Yeah.
it from second, third, maybe fourth or fifth point of view until you start to reassociate new feelings, new sensations, and new definitions to the thing.
Yes.
So, do you these days do you encounter what do you have you encountered recently that is um, procrastination worthy? Because I'm not going to say the difficult because you don't define difficult.
So, in this vein of entrepreneurship that you and I have jumped into the abyss and we're doing all the things, one of the things that I had not done is an example is SOPs or to get some structure around the business. So, procrastination. And so, say me, procrastination is indecisiveness in disguise,
Mm,
right? And so I needed to put a framework around a model, a theoretical model, a framework, a cognitive neuroplasticity model that I've developed. And it meant that I needed to write the activities. I needed to write out, it's a course. I needed to write this out. And I tell you, procrastination, quote, doing the difficult from 2013, 2014 until April of 2026, Stephen.
oh wow.
I'm just telling the whole truth. Just couldn't get it done. And at the backdrop was, again, I've never written a formal course. I don't have technical language. I haven't been able to hire somebody, find somebody to get it done. I only know it in here. I can teach it, I
Mm.
can demonstrate it because I've been doing it since 2013. I needed to write it. And so that was a daunting task when I used that language. It's difficult, it's daunting. Once I stripped the label away from it, and again, April of 2026 is when I got it done. Remove the label, still working with a professional coach who assists me and a therapist who assists me. Just do it. What was the first thing? So I just started breaking it down, digesting it into chunks, into manageable pieces without the label of it's difficult. And again, as a student, well, hey, I've never written a formal course before. And I delved into it as like, oh, what can I learn new? And I spent the month, and it did take about a month. I spent the month of April um, putting this together. And it wasn't ready until May. We're in the month of May, until May 2nd. So this is
Mm.
fresh. And so it took me an entire month working on learning how to write technical, making sure my thoughts were clear, writing the instructions, writing the participants manual, writing the teacher's manual. I've never done anything like that before. But I took the month of April, I started really probably in March, and took the all of mid-March through April getting this done and was finally finished. And I also gave myself a deadline. And so, Stephen, I think that's important depending on your wiring. For me, 2013, 2016, I didn't hold me accountable. So the new mindset is start, finish. And I gave myself a deadline that I needed to be finished by the end of April because I will be presenting this to somebody
Mm.
the first part in May, which I did. May 2nd, I think that was a Friday. That's exactly what I did. And so you have to shift internally, right? And hold yourself accountable. And so once I was able to do that, recognizing this programming, this difficult procrastination, and I changed it. This is a new transformation for me. It's brand new. It's you're hearing about it. I'm literally opening this mindset shift out the box. Tag still on it. And that is reframing it. Take the emotional part out of it because when we say it's difficult, we then attach the emotion that's associated with what our brain remembers, our past remembers being difficult. And then we relive all of those experiences emotionally. So, what works for me is I began to separate the emotion and just see it as a task. It has no, so that I'm not feeling anything until I get it done. And then I can decide I like to add my emotion here, excitement, a sense of reward, a sense of accomplishment, whatever emotion that I choose. And so that's what I've used, and that's what I've been working on in real time, which is
Wow.
fresh off the press.
And I agree. I want to simply point out that's part of being an entrepreneur is just that being vulnerable enough to sit there and discuss it in
Mhm,
real time, the current issues. For
mhm,
me, I'm still I still find the procrastination coming up or the avoiding coming up, and
mhm.
what the way I address it currently
Okay.
is very methodical, very system based, comes from my manufacturing background, but it's
Okay.
also with the emotions as well.
Mhm.
So tying in the sense of gratitude and
Yes.
tearing the tearing the subject down into really, really small, simple steps. So
Yes.
simple that if I didn't do it today, I feel stupid for not getting it done because it's just too simple.
Ah.
And this way, I'm not sitting there trying to hold myself accountable. I'm not punishing myself. what I'm doing is saying, well, this is just so simple. It's going to take me a half hour to do. I'm just going to knock it out of the park.
Right.
And in the
Using that, is it working for you? What's your progress?
it works for me. It works for me in
Yeah.
my way. And the moment is first I have a list. What I do is I prioritize my day for the three major things that I'm going to get done that day.
Okay.
And I have a list. If you haven't seen, I have whiteboards all over my office. I have a list of like 16 to 24 things.
Mm-hmm.
I sit there and I decide what I'm going to do for the day, what I'm
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing for, but then I break it down into small, simple steps. I
Mm-hmm.
feel gratitude. In my mind, I redefine it as I'm going to feel gratitude because I get to do this thing. I'm working towards my North Star.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just begin. And that goes back to exactly what you had said in the beginning. The time is now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is really, and it's not that simple because you're going through the emotions. As we both know,
Yeah.
emotions are not logical.
Right.
So sometimes it's a thing. A lot of times, sometimes I'm used to a camera now, but there are times where I really don't want to face a camera,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
weird because the emotions are there, and I go, okay, well, why? Why is my emotions showing up like this?
Yeah.
Why am I? What is happening? I ask all the series of questions, but most of the time it's why, why,
Yeah.
why, and then when I get to a certain point, I
Mm-hmm.
reframe. Well, I get to do this for this. I
Yeah.
feel gratitude for that opportunity.
Yes.
And that's how I went through. Like, one of the most difficult things for me is
Mm-hmm.
building my speaker experience. We talked about this in the last episode. I went to competition. I'm not a competitive person. And so you go into this framework of through your eyes, point of view, you're only in yourself. And in that moment, when you get introduced, people are clapping, you're walking up onto the stage, your
Mm-hmm.
mind is going into, oh, my knees are shaky, my hands are trembly, well, I forgot my first lines.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in that moment where you
Mm-hmm.
have to say, there's somebody in this audience that needs to hear my speech.
Yes.
And then, because otherwise you would just tremble on the stage, right? For me,
Yeah.
anyways. So there are different frameworks to where if you frame, like, I'm a man of service, I love being of service. And
Yes.
it's very important to me to reframe it, especially my speaking, especially when I started on camera and speaking and so forth like that. It was just like somebody might see this that I might impact. And to me, that's more important than all of the butterflies in my stomach and the difficult things.
That's powerful. So first, I love what you said because for the listening audience, there is a strategy that works. So what works for me, what works for Stephen, you'll find what works for you, right? Stephen, I love the list. I also do a list, and I give myself an opportunity, 5 things on the list.
Mm,
Complete the first five, and when I've completed them, I'm allowed to add another five just because chunking works for me
yeah.
because long lists, I become overwhelmed. And so I love that some people need to see their whole bigger picture and then be able to really check that, got that done. So recognize how you operate and what you need to do, because once you make the commitment at the core, at the belief you're going to get it done, then now you're working toward, believe it or not, the strategy in which to get it done. And something that you said about going up on that stage, your knees, shaking, are you going to remember your lines? What you just said is you cannot have competing thoughts in the now.
Yep.
So when you're thinking about yourself, then you're going to pay attention to all of your imperfections, everything that should have, would have, could have. And we typically are our worst critics. I'm nervous, I'm scared, what if I forget? Da, 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 da. But when you are operating from your higher self, and usually it is the gift or the passion to serve, then you essentially die to self because you're no longer there for you. So when you're making the videos, getting on camera, saying that this message is impactful, someone needs this nourishment for their mind, for their body, for their soul. I am the messenger, and you're going to deliver that message to make sure your audience is fed. Then you and the nervousness and the butterflies, it dissipates. Or at least it takes a back seat. And so that might be something for the audience to consider. It's normal, it's natural, it comes up because you are present in your own being. So the way that what you described, Stephen, to move out of that is tap into your why. And your why for doing what you're doing is often greater than you. So
Absolutely.
when you find yourself struggling, and you can always identify, is this struggle about you? For me, I've done some public speaking, and I've get nervous, especially, it doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 200 people. I get nervous. I start thinking about all types of things. What's going on with my hair? Am I sweating? Is my dress, make sure my dress looks right. Or my pants, will I fall in my heels? Is my earrings twisted? All of these things. Am I stammering? Am I talking too fast? Talking too slow? Consumed with me. But as soon as I tap into is what you said so beautifully and eloquently, you dropped in and you tapped into your why. I love to serve.
Yeah.
I have a message in this speech that may be impactful for the hearer. You forgot all about your hands shaking. You were committed to your why. And so I think that that's an excellent strategy. I think that that's something that each of us can consider when we're doing the difficult or doing the thing that we perceive as uncomfortable. Get back into your why.
Yeah.
Allow
Absolutely.
that to energize you and inspire you and propel you into action.
I love that. And I think that, one of the things that really spoke to me, I love what you're saying, but it just really drew my attention was get to know how you work.
Mm-hmm.
And that brought me back to, the beginning of the entrepreneurship journey. And just recently, I keep relearning this. And this is, I feel like this is not a bad thing. I'm going through the next level of this responsibility of learning this skill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I keep relearning that while I love to sit there and do the research, while I love to teach and train and learn and read books and consume, a lot of that is distraction.
Yes.
I learn greatly through the small, simple steps of experiment, iterate, fail,
Yes.
succeed, repeat.
Yes. You're actually always succeeding.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
right? So even the language fail. And so the areas where we're comfortable, it means that you are proficient in that skill. And the areas, if we use the label where we're uncomfortable or it's difficult, it means you've entered a new class, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
funny story, algebra, mathematics. I've always said my profession, I'm terrible at math. I'm not good at math. Math is terrible. And every opportunity to do math, I ran from it.
Mm,
Hear my narrative, my behavior aligned, and the emotion was always angst. Well, when I, and going through college, you need a college algebra. That's a story for another day, anyway. I got through that on some other stuff. But My narrative when I graduated was I hate algebra, I hate math, I'm never doing math. Just give me a calculator, whatever. We would evolve in technologies. Wasn't worried about it. My first job out of undergraduate, I was a teacher. I did not apply to be a teacher. I applied for another role. They didn't hire me for the other role, but felt like I was really good with people, with students. So they said, "You want the job?" I said, "Yes." I thought it would be something that I was comfortable with. I thought maybe I could do English, maybe I could do history, the read and rest type of thing.
Mm.
Comfortable in it. They put me in algebra. I had to teach high school algebra for 3 years. And why am I saying that? Because what was difficult for me that I had avoided and did not want to do and even labeled it that I'm not good at math, I can't learn it, this is terrible, and all of the things. Once I recognized the difficult, if you will, that season, it's a new classroom, it's come to teach you. And so after 3 years of high school algebra, 5 days a week, I know how to do algebra now.
Yeah.
And so I use that as an example to say you love to do the research and do all of the things because it means you're proficient in that subject. You've passed that class. And what we're labeling as difficult is really you've now graduated to the next class. And so once I was able to teach algebra using that story, I could do it. I could solve the equation. I knew the exponents, all of the things. First, I had to learn it myself. The students didn't know what I didn't know. Your audience don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
I had to learn it. And here's a test that you're about to graduate out of the next season of what you deem as difficult. You can now teach it.
Yeah.
You can now teach it. And once I was able to do algebra, I was doing the algebra in my sleep. I saw the equations. I got the concept. It was no longer hard for me. And just like that school experience in entrepreneurship, you will graduate and pass the class that you were previously in or afraid to even go through. And how do you know? Because then the tide will turn and you'll find yourself as an entrepreneur now needing to level up and learn yet a new skill.
I love that. I love that. And that brings me to the thought that
Mm-hmm.
um, I'd learned 5 years ago, starting on the coaching journey. I started coaching leadership. At that
Mm-hmm.
point in time in leadership, I had read so many books on leadership. I felt I knew the subject.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was walking the walk, talking the talk.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is because it was totally different when I began teaching
Yeah.
leadership.
Yes.
The teacher often learns way more than the student, especially when it's a weak subject.
Yes.
And that brought me back to 5 years ago where I started this journey, where I fell in love with the sparkle in somebody's eye, where I was
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I was able to touch them in a way that impacted their life. And I love that. But the teaching, and that is one of the parts, is teaching now is to me just that, the
Yeah.
opportunity to learn it deeper.
Yes.
And so that brings my mind to
Mhm.
the difficult things or the things that we want to procrastinate on, getting through them. Once we get through them, do you have a story that you tell yourself? Because I often say, hey, look, I knew I could do it. I knew I'd figure it out. And now's the next level. Let's move forwards. And it's really uncelebratory. It's very it's very logical. Um,
Yeah.
but I wondered, how about you?
So I am simplistic. I like to take the complex concepts and simplify them because the way that I operate is in chunks, bite-sized pieces.
Mm.
And so what I tell myself is if you start it, again, you must finish it.
Mm.
I am concrete in that way because, and the reason why I do that for me is I've in the past been great at filling it in with a bunch of noise of all the reasons why, giving myself, again, 2013 to 2026 to write up this course, 2013 to 2026. And in March, when I shifted, the new narrative that I say is start and finish. That old noise, it's difficult, it's hard, you don't know enough. Maybe you should do something else. One of the behaviors that I engaged in was busy work. Busy work normally leading me away from the thing that I was avoiding. Something else that I recognize that I tell myself is first make the decision. Are you going to do this? Again, so Sydney, that procrastination is really indecisiveness in
Yeah.
disguise. You know you need to do it, or I should say, you know you want to do it, but it's not yet moved down to you need to do it, a necessity. And so I evaluate, I really sit with myself before taking on a task to say, is this a want, a wish? Meaning everything that's a want, it is negotiable.
Mm.
And I will negotiate that time from 2013 to 2026. It was negotiable. It was an idea. I've written about it. It was still negotiable. But when I had a life-changing event that happened for me in April, all of a sudden I needed to get it done.
Mm.
Right? I was like, oh, it was non-negotiable. And I got it done. And so the conversation that you tell yourself or that I tell myself is seriously a need or is it a want? The need is necessity, non-negotiable. The want is it's negotiable. You have some options. You can do it tomorrow, you can do it next week. And then you start walking yourself in that pattern of procrastination. And then for me, I would get busy doing busy work, really avoiding the thing that I've not made the decision to do. And so I keep it simple. Do I need this or do I want this? And if I start it, I have to finish it, period. It may mean other things aren't getting done. That's fine. But once this is on my list, I will not stop until I check it off. And so it works for me because it allows me to manage my time. And again, it allows me to think sober minded about the choices that I'm making with regard to the direction that I'm moving. And that's something I think is important for entrepreneurs. We have these great ideas, visionaries. We can see how we're going to save the world and do all the things of what we want to do. And
Yeah.
we don't hold ourselves accountable in a very sober way, clear way of what we need to do. And for me and my business at this juncture, it was getting the SOPs written and or getting this course written. I don't care how many hundreds of clients you're going to see providing therapy and you're going to go across the East Coast. I mean, all these things I had in my head. Not if the foundation isn't put in place.
Yeah.
How you haven't done the coursework?
Yeah.
And so I needed, in order for this coursework that I believe is called 8+ Stages of Change, I believe it is so impactful. It's state of the art. It's the thing. It's how do I really get that out there to the population it will serve if I won't even write it up?
Mm. Absolutely.
So if I need to be of service to people because that is my vocation, that is my work, it's greater than my job, then get this done. And I literally had to put it on my things to do list. And I didn't work. I worked on that thing until it was completed. And I gave myself a deadline. So for me, I keep it simple. And I run those phrases through my being. Need to or want to. If you started, you finish.
Mm.
I keep it simple.
Yeah, consistency builds character and builds identity.
Mm-hmm.
And what you consistently do is what your identity is.
Mm-hmm.
And just to sum up here, what I heard over this episode, and I'm learning, I love this discussion because I'm learning as I go, is be of service minded, which is towards your North Star.
Yes.
Um, Consistency is crucial.
Yes.
Ownership and accountability, and be in the current moment.
Now.
Be in the
Mm-hmm.
now. The time is now. I love that. I'm going to quote you again on that because the time is now.
It's
Be in the
now.
current moment because I'm a visionary.
Yes.
Practicing visionary, was a dreamer. And
Yes.
so I love to practice distraction, right? And so even in you had your moment of vulnerability, I am relearning and learning to practice like a skill being in the current moment.
Yes.
And it was